Beginning of the year is a great time to reflect on a couple of the key issues that we think we're going to see in 2024. Maybe at the top of the list is AI. So we have consulting expertise and legal expertise, and we're going to dive into an interesting discussion around AI and some of the top issues that organizations should focus on in their HR.
Well, I'm always happy to talk about this emerging technology of artificial intelligence. I think the more that our clients, our employers are mindful of that emerging technology, that they could be prepared for the questions they're going to get from their workforce and for the changing laws that are coming out from the states and that may be coming from the federal government or internationally. And the more that they jump on coming to that knowledge, the better suited they'll be as things continue to change at a rapid pace.
I recently got a certification in AI, and it was a foundational certification. And as an HR consultant and someone that leads an HR practice, it was very enlightening, and I learned a ton about how to leverage AI, the pitfalls. But I also became terrified at the prospect of all the legal changes that were occurring. And the states are moving faster than the federal government, and I know it's going to be a huge hot topic for 2024, 2025. I thought I'd reach out to you. You run SHRM's legislative affairs on the board, and you're an employment lawyer for your guidance.
Artificial intelligence is for sure something that employers, all organizations need to be thinking of because it's in your workplace, whether you realize it or not. People are using it, and some of the programs that you're using might already use that machine learning that counts as AI.
What are you starting to see as best practices that companies are using for guidance around how they deploy AI in their companies?
Yeah, I think part of it is leadership has to take a minute and figure out how is AI going to be used here? What role do we want AI to play? Is it going to be that we're going to take the approach of an outright ban, which some companies are doing? Is it going to be more middle of the road? We're going to say some of the stuff you can't do and some of the stuff you can do and be clear about what the do's and don'ts are. Or is it just open season? That's kind of the first threshold question that I encourage organizations to think about. And then from there, they can develop what the best approaches are.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of varied levels of understanding of what AI is in the workplace. And so oftentimes when folks ask us from an HR standpoint, what should we implement? I always say, you can put a policy into place, but if people don't know what generative AI is, what machine learning is, what chatbots are, or how to use them correctly, then the policy is not going to make any difference. So you have to have training, a glossary, you have to level set because you've got younger folks that are using it fluidly. And then you've got older generations that maybe be terrified of it. And then you've got people in the middle that are playing with it. And that's actually the most dangerous spot because they don't necessarily know what it is. We have clients using ChatGPT because they think it's a search engine.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a search engine.
Yeah.
And that can really mess up work product. That can get you in a lot of trouble with IP and even identity issues.
Yeah, speaking of trouble, one of the cases that we are mindful of as lawyers, especially, is a case that came out of New York where two lawyers used ChatGPT to put together a brief. And the judge found out because as their law clerk was going into the brief and looking at cases, they realized the cases were fake. And whatever AI they had used just was spitting out fake names, but it looked real. And unfortunately, no one in that firm thought, let me just check behind.
I know people are using it to streamline a lot of processes and even helping write information in a more concise manner, taking handwritten notes that you normally would take to a graphic designer and kind of bulleting and storyboarding them out. So there's just a wide variety of ways it's being used and leveraged. Customer service is being overhauled by almost every single industry with using AI and chatbots. And so I think from our standpoint, it's the speed of data analysis, but it's also how much we're learning from the new generative AI and what it's learning to do.
So on the opposite end of that, what are some mistakes you've already seen?
Yeah, the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, has been on top of warning employers about how they use AI when it comes to hiring and screening tools and all of that, because just as humans are susceptible to bias, it turns out that these machines are also susceptible to bias because they're dealing with the inputs that we're putting into them. We're seeing a lot of guidance from the EEOC to just remind employers that if you're using AI for screening and decision-making for candidates that you're looking at, be mindful of that. I think these chatbots do sometimes lean on gender stereotypes when they're assigning pronouns. There was one study that I saw recently where a chatbot was assigning the she pronoun to kindergarten teachers and the he pronoun to auto mechanics. That's how it learns to spin out those pronouns. So if the machine that you believe is removing the implicit bias that we all have as humans, it might be going another way, depending on the inputs that it's learning on.
We're seeing it leveraged in ways that we didn't think that could go wrong. There was one company that had an employee use an app where it just takes the face off of a bio page on the website and turns it into a nude, which obviously breaks multiple violations and policies. But, it was all fun and games until it's not. And then if you put photos of your coworkers into AI, you don't know where that's going to end up,
Right.
or what it's going to be used for long term. So the fear of your identity being used without your knowledge. Certain people have submitted reports that they used AI and they used it, they thought, in an ethical way, but there were no guidelines and it pulled copyrighted material from other organizations and it gets picked up hilariously, usually through other AI. But then you're in trouble because you look like you plagiarized. It's a little bit of the Wild West because guidelines are all over the map.
So if folks are faced with legal challenges related to anything in the HR realm, they should reach out to you.
I would love for anyone and everyone to absolutely reach out to us. Our firm, Sands Anderson, I practice labor and employment law, and I love helping employers focus on fostering a well-run workplace. Like, we try to take the stress of defending claims, but also help them think proactively about how to prevent claims and think about how to comply with all of the laws, the many, many laws that can impact a single decision.
How do they find you?
They can go to our website at sandsanderson.com to find my profile. My name is Faith Alejandro. Again, I'm a shareholder at Sands Anderson here in our Richmond office.
So if folks are trying to avoid calling Faith and they want to try and plan, what do they need to do to get in touch with you?
Yes, before it rises to the level of a lawsuit or legal need, we would always love to help put policies, procedures in place, guardrails. So I'm Laura Bowser. I lead the human capital consulting practice here at Fahrenheit. We have a full service team, fractional, interim, and subject matter experts that can assist in navigating and setting up your HR function.
Thanks so much for taking a minute to talk about AI and some of the things that folks should be focused on in 2024.
Sure.